Assalamu alaikum dear students, it is nice to see you back on video sequences of zoology. If you remember, we studied about different parts of vertebrates. It means we studied the vertebrate itself, also we classified it. We studied the first class of vertebrates that we call it fish. In this video, we're going to talk about another class of vertebrates that we know it as amphibians. Let's talk about it in more details. We will start from the word amphibian. As you know, the word amphibian is a combination word. It means it has been combined from two Greek words. Amphi means boat, bios means life. Both together they make amphibious. That is meaning that living both in water and on land. So mainly we can define the amphibians as an animal that is able to use both conditions, the aquatic and terrestrial environments, in order to survive. So at deeper definitions, we can define that these creatures or animals are called small vertebrates that need water or restricted in order to live in a moist environment to survive. Their example animal could be thought as frogs, toads, salamander, and newts. Mainly they share some distinguishing features between each other. One of the most important features that they share with each other is this, that all can breathe and absorb water through their skin. Another obvious and distinguishing point that they share is this, that they also have special skin glands that produce useful proteins in order to produce a colorful image at their skin and to camouflage, or another reason to produce the poison or venom, or another form that we call it projections. These important proteins are really used for the survival of these animals. Let's talk about them in another slide or deeper examinations. In order to understand or have a deep look in the life cycle of a frog, we should first know the frog itself. Mainly the frogs are animals which are most familiar for their jumping abilities, cracking sounds, bulging eyes, and slimy skin. They live all over the world and are among the most diverse animals in the world, with more than 6,000 species. And about their life cycle, we can imagine that their life starts from the eggs. After fertilization, that will exchange into embryo. They will start their first period of life inside the water or aquatic environment. So in that situation, we call it tadpole. Tadpoles, after consuming time, they will exchange into a young frog. In this period, at the middle stage, most of their external and internal body parts are going to be diminished because they are going to be ready to live on a terrestrial and land environment. So after passing their first period of life that they survive inside the water, they are able now to live on land. So we call it adult frog. This was about the life cycle of the frog. Let's talk about the internal and external morphological features that we can see and observe at the outside and inside of these animals. From the outside or external morphological features, we can say that the average adult length could be thought as 15 centimeters. From the head, we can see that it's protected with a bony ridge. They possess the eardrum in order to catch sound vibrations. At their anterior part, they are possessed two unwebbed hands in order to catch the prey or hold themselves into a place. At their back, they possess a parotoid gland in order to produce a mucus that surrounds the skin. Also, they have some important proteins that will exchange their structure into dry, watery skin or a tough projections that helps the animal to protect themselves against the predator. But their two posterior legs or webbed toes are really important because they are strong and used to swim or jumping. But if you want to talk about the internal regions of body parts of the frog, you should be well familiar that these animals could be thought as bilaterally symmetrical animals, because if you want to separate these animals, you can divide them into two equal regions. At their external parts, we can note that most of the regions are well developed. For example, the heart or circulatory system, which is composed with a heart with right and left atrium and a ventricle that pumps the blood in order to irrigate the cells and tissues of the body. The liver is composed with three lobes: the middle lobe, or we call it ventral abdominal lobe, or the right lobe. So another important part that we can observe is the digestive system, where it starts from the mouth and ends to the anus. At the middle part, you can see the stomach and small intestines. So according to their morphological internal features, you can define that the urinary bladder is used in order to store the urine to excrete it outside of the body. But most of the body energy is stored in fat bodies that help the animal in different life conditions to maintain their homeostasis and their ecological niche in their environment when the food or feeding materials are not available. So dear students, this was a short review about amphibians. Hope you find it pretty well. We will see you on next class definitions or next video. Thank you so much.